Next month, Microsoft President Brad Smith will appear before the House Homeland Security Committee. He'll answer questions about the company's recent nation-state cyber attacks and new internal security strategies. This is after a Homeland Security report highlighting some of the flaws. But could licensing practices be a cause here? That's the feeling of groups like the Coalition for Fair Software Licensing. For why, Federal News Network's Eric White spoke to the group's executive director, Ryan Triplette.
Well, I think the biggest concern fundamentally where the coalition comes from is we're always looking at the software licensing practices of any technology provider and the importance of these technology providers to ensure that customers have the ability to license or to access these products on predictable, reliable manner, that they understand the costs, that when they talk to their providers, that they understand that they're going to be able to access and use them in the ecosystems that they understand and predict, but also that they're going to be able to have that technology interoperate and integrate with the other technology that they use, especially when it comes to cybersecurity. In the case of Microsoft, we've been concerned for some time because, unfortunately, increasing number of customers are feeling that they're being given a choice of either take it all or really take nothing. And what that creates is a kind of a pretty vast and broad single surface of attack. And unfortunately, it's something that we have seen not just with the breach in July of 2023, but also with more recent news with the Russian breach. So it's something that we're concerned. Fundamentally, we're always looking at this from the perspective of ensuring competition and that customers and other providers out there are able to compete on a fair and balanced playing field, but also that customers can really access the best in breed technologies to be able to address the new security questions and the new potential vulnerabilities that they're being exposed to on a day-to-day basis.
I'm going to throw your own words at you here from the statement that you all issued regarding the Microsoft issue. That includes a term vendor lock-in of Microsoft security products and subsequent over-reliance on its cloud and productivity tools. What does vendor lock-in mean to a person who, I'm just a customer here. So what does that mean?
Vendor lock-in, it actually can mean a couple of different things from a customer perspective. If you're a customer, vendor lock-in can mean, okay, so I'm going through my digital transformation process. I have historically used a certain provider, be it Microsoft, be it Oracle, be it SAP, any other providers you can think of. And as you're looking at the cloud transformation process that you want to be able to access, really effectively make the most of that cloud transformation. You want to be able to access everything throughout the cloud stack that will meet your needs. But because of the software licensing practices that you're being forced into some of your legacy providers. In the case of Microsoft, this has been an extremely heavy government reliance on Microsoft and Office 365 products. This isn't actually just within the U.S. federal government. This is really kind of across the board in both commercial sector and the public sector. It's something that whether it's Excel, whether it's Doc, whatever, you just have this huge reliance on that. But that reliance on those products shouldn't dictate what cloud I'm running on, what cybersecurity products I'm running on, what identity and access management I'm using, everything that really is also integral to make sure that you are able to operate in this fully digital transformation environment. But unfortunately, we are seeing because of these licensing practices, you have licenses for the Microsoft and Office products being discounts being conditioned on running on certain cloud environments. You get the discounts if you go over to Azure. You don't if you go over to other competitors. But also, when you're looking at ensuring that you have access to different products, whether it's your communication collaboration, whether it's different cybersecurity products, really being told, okay, well, if you want to be able to access the Microsoft Office at this level, well, you have to take the rest of these. You have to take the rest of these products.
We're speaking with Ryan Triplette. She's the executive director of the Coalition for Fair Software Licensing. All right, so allow me to, play devil's advocate here. Microsoft, they have a series of products. what is wrong with them saying, hey, these are our products, take them or leave them. And if you want to use our services and our ideas, you're going to have to also take our security factors, even if they're not up to your standard.
Fundamentally, I would say what's wrong with that is it runs afoul of our competition laws. So that's first and foremost in terms of there's this little thing that the U.S. government doesn't look keenly upon tying of these products and having that conditioning the sales of one product on another. But it's fundamentally also from a customer, and especially in the current environment in which we are operating, you really do want to ensure that you're able to address your customers' needs. Frankly, when it comes to cybersecurity products, being forced to take one cybersecurity solution and being told, okay, well, it isn't going to necessarily interoperate or integrate well with other providers, and especially with other providers that may have historically you've historically used, that have historically worked well. It also runs contrary to all the cyber resiliency recommendations that have come out over the year, where you want to ensure you have a diversity of technology providers because they're going to address different vulnerabilities throughout the cloud stack, because they're going to be able to catch different issues or penetrations into your system. This is important. It's important that you have that diversity. It's important that as a customer, you're not being forced out of having that choice in really being able to access the best in breed, to access those technologies that address the specific needs of your system, whether I'm a government agency, whether I'm a financial service provider, whether I'm a healthcare provider. There are different things that you're going to need, and you need to be able to ensure that all of these different systems talk and work together.
Yeah, it is kind of odd because typically you see a lot of collaboration, even business to business in the cybersecurity world, because, companies are usually happy, like, oh, thank you. You've solved this problem for us. We don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that historically the cybersecurity industry really has worked well in that, and kind of going back to the promise of the cloud. One of the beauties and the promise of the cloud has always been that as a customer, there's almost kind of a limitless area of niche offerings that you can provide out here, that whether it is redressing different vulnerabilities, backtracking, identifying where they come from, proactively identifying where you're having penetrations, that you can have different companies that specialize in that space, but also beyond even cybersecurity products. So it's the same with communication collaboration, with identity and access management, really throughout everything. And historically, and really I would argue up until more recent years, when you did begin to see an increasing amount of this vertical integration with especially with a company like Microsoft, where it's really owning that entirety of the cloud stack. Historically, and especially I would say prior to 2019, you did have a lot of these integrations and working really well across different companies. And I do think it's something that the less you listen to your customers and that they're calling for this, or calling for their different providers to partner and work well together. And the more you're telling them, no, you have to do it on our terms and on a take it or leave it basis. Only you have everything with us, or you can't really do anything at all. It's really disconcerting. And especially as customers are struggling to anticipate what the future is going to bring. And especially this is raising more concerns when we're looking at AI offerings really being the next generation coming up.
Gotcha. All right. And I'd also like to take a moment we've done a lot of talk about niches. And speaking of niches, the Coalition for Fair Software Licensing, that is quite a niche to have a coalition around itself. Can you tell me a little bit about your group and how you all came together and what makes this such a passionate issue for you?
Absolutely. Well, yes, it's definitely a niche area. I will tell you, if you are a technologist or an engineer, you probably do want me at your dinner table. If you're not, probably I'm a little boring to some other people. But software licensing, our membership is over 20 companies, North American based, that are all committed to ensuring and have committed to a series of 9 principles really built around the base of fair and predictable software licensing practices. Our membership includes technology providers as well as technology customers. We do think that it's important and where we're very distinct from other organizations out there in that we do represent both sides. We're not just an organization that is just technology providers and only speaking from the perspective of that. We do have our customer perspective. So we make sure that when we're taking positions, we're reflecting that kind of holistic universe of issues. And why software licensing? Well, I mean, I will tell you, I've always had a passion for the obscure.